Welcome back to my back garden once again. No detecting today. I just wanted to give a little bit of an update. Obviously, I had my visit to the National Museum in Edinburgh to drop off this great big assemblage of items. This is the extent of the collection. Most of these items found in the last 12 months. Best part of 4,000 years of history, going all the way back to the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, the Roman period, possible Viking and medieval. And much as I would have loved to have filmed the discussion, the handover, and to explain in a little bit more detail how the whole process of reporting historical artefacts happens in Scotland and what's involved, unfortunately, I wasn't allowed to film within the museum, which is understandable. But as I mentioned before, it would be nice to have been able to give you a little bit of an insight into what's involved, and also to make it a little bit more transparent, because all that's going to do is encourage more people to report stuff that they find. So I've had a receipt through from the Treasure Trove department, and they are processing 183 items. 183. So that's pretty incredible. They talked me through a few items, some of the Roman coins and such like. No further forward on two items which I was really intrigued by. One is a little silver fish, which I will show you here. This is the little fish in question, which I have taken up to a jeweller's to check, because I thought it was silver, and it is indeed silver. But it's intriguing. It's like a little pendant or amulet. You can see it's got the loop at the top, but each of the scales and all the decoration is hand stamped. So this isn't an item that's been mass produced. And it just intrigues me. Ever since I found this item, I've just been so desperate to find out how old it might be, and my hope is that it could be 9th or 10th or 11th century, and possibly Viking. And another item that's really intrigued me is a little lead figure, which is here. This is a collection of lead items that have come off of the Roman site, and this is the little figure in question. So you can clearly see it's a little human form, and on the reverse it is perfectly flat, no detail, and I've always hoped that this is Roman, and if it is, it's going to be sometime between the 1st and the 4th century. But if you know, then let me know. I would love it if those items turned out to be a Viking pendant, and I would also love it if the little lead figure turned out to be Roman in date, 1st or 2nd century. That would be fantastic, but we'll have to wait and see. They'll do some investigating, some research, try and find some parallels from elsewhere in Scotland or even elsewhere in the UK, and then they'll report back. So how long is the process? Well, realistically, we're probably looking at 2 years. 2 years before the items even go in front of the panel, never mind a decision being made. So it is not a quick process. But, you know, what would happen to the items if I didn't report them? Well, they would probably just stay in my cabinet, or they would end up in my sock drawer, or such like. So, you know, the process needs to be quicker, the process needs to be faster, but at the moment, that's as fast as it can go. A little update as well on the little bull which Albert found, which is right here. And here it is, Albert's incredible oxen, or stylised bull. So this is part of a vessel. It's often referred to as a vessel mount or a bucket mount. You can see the two rivets in the mouth, so it would have sat on the edge, on the lip of a vessel, a bowl, possibly made of wood or made of bronze. And their early suggestions, having been looked at by some experts, is that this might actually come from a tribe in central or southern England, and it's somehow made its way to the fields of Perthshire. Who knows, maybe some sort of gift, maybe theft, but who knows what that field has still got to produce. It's recently been ploughed, and hopefully Albert and I will get back out on it sometime soon. So it would have been one of probably a pair that would have sat on the edge of a vessel. You'll see the loop at the back there. That is where the handle or a chain would have been attached to hang it. And this was probably one of two, maybe even three, that were attached to the vessel. And date-wise, they think it's going to be pre-Roman, I believe. So pre-43 AD, over 2,000 years old. That bull is without a doubt the greatest metal detecting find that I have ever seen in person before. Better than anything I've ever found in 25 years. And the fact that that jammy swine Albert found that in 5 months of metal detecting is pretty incredible. So we're going to hear hopefully more about that. They think it'll go before the panel in April 2025, so another year before we're going to probably learn any more information about it, which is really frustrating, but it is what it is. But it's going to be of huge importance, huge significance. So another piece of history saved, because if Albert hadn't have found that within a few years or a few decades, it would have probably been broken by agriculture, and then it would have just disintegrated. So, so a rare save. Also, my XP Deus 2, as you'll know in the last video, I had some issues. The coil, this one right here, in fact, it wouldn't connect. It wouldn't connect to the wireless computer after I stopped for lunch. As you'll know, I went back to the car, I got my other coil, tried to connect that, that wouldn't connect either. I phoned Regton's, Marcus I think it was, or Nigel, one of the two, talked me through the options, what I could and couldn't do, but it just wasn't, nothing would work. I also tried to just run off the master, which is in the headset. That wouldn't work either. All the master would do would allow, it didn't matter what button I pressed, it would only allow me to change the volume up or down, which was useless because the coil wouldn't connect. Anyway, came home, left the detector in the van, and then the next morning took it out, turned it on, and it worked straight away. It came on, the coil connected, and quite a lot of you said in the comments, your battery's flat. Your battery was flat in the coil, that's why it wouldn't connect. It wasn't flat. I charged it before I went out. I'd only used it for 2.5 hours. I was pretty confident it was about 80-90% battery life, and in actual fact it was. When it turned on, it was about 85% of the battery was still there. So clearly it's a software problem as a result of version 2.0 being updated just a couple of days before. I re-updated the version 2.0, and so far I've been out 4 times detecting since then, and no problem at all. So a technical glitch of some description, fingers crossed. Version 2.0 is going really well, I have to say. My biggest concern was iron falsing, and yeah, I've dug 1 or 2 iron targets, but they become quite obvious. They become quite, you know, you get used to it. Like anything, you start to hear and you start to realise that signal is not quite convincing. So you learn, like anything. And I figured XP detectors, they must know far more about the can and can'ts of the Deus 2 than I ever will. So I figured if they've brought out a version 1.1 and 2.0, then it should be better than the 0.74 version that I was on before. So far, so good. As you know as well, the whole of January, no silver whatsoever, which is incredible because some days I was going out in November and December, we were finding 3, 4, 5, 6 silver coins and silver items. I think it was the very 1st of February, I got 2 silver items, a little button, which might actually be an earring, and a little brooch with the name Lizzie on it. So that was my 2 bits of silver, and I'm happy to report I have had multiple silver coins since then. Spoiler alert, coming very soon is going to be a fantastic video. I might have to break it up into a 2-parter because I think there's going to be a lot of content. I haven't started to edit it yet, but I found 3 fantastic coins. I found 2 silver coins, and one in particular is pretty incredible. Well worth a watch. So you'll see that one coming. Other news on the day is too, disaster. Broken completely. So I've got a new bit to attach my my control box to the fitting up here. So that's an aftermarket version. So I need to try and figure out how to get those tiny little screws out. So I'll need to try and find a tiny screwdriver. I'm sure I've got one somewhere, but that is on the to-do list. And you know, we'll see what happens. So I think that's about it. I think that's everything. So 180 something, 183 items. So if it was 2 years to get processed before, well, it might be 2.5 after I've overwhelmed them with all the items. Some people also asked on the treasure trove and the reporting of items, you know, finders keepers, you know, you shouldn't have to report stuff. Well, I think you should have to report stuff because history is about people enjoying it, people learning from it. So I think people should report what they find. It is a legal requirement as well, I should add, so you definitely should be doing it. But you know, a lot of people were asking as well, what happened to the St Andrews? Where's the other silver bars? Where's this item? Where's that item? This is just one group of finds. There will be more items going in shortly, probably in March, I think. And generally, you're supposed to report items when you discover them within 14 days of discovering them. But I've struck up a kind of relationship with Treasure Trove whereby I said to them, look, for me this just isn't practical, and I also don't want to post items because the postal service is terrible. Sorry, but it is. You know, and I don't want to send items that are potentially hundreds or thousands of years old and have them lost. So I said, look, I will come in person and I'll do a handover, and they were happy with that. Now, that's not going to be the same rule for everyone, but it's the rule that I've got, so I'm happy with that. And it was nice to chat with them, very friendly, very personable, and explained lots of different items. So I'll keep you posted as we get more information. And as I say, I've hit silver at last, so there's going to be some great videos coming out over the next week to 10 days, hopefully, and I hope you will enjoy them. And as promised, here's some bonus footage. So this is the National Museum of Scotland. It is monstrous. It was constructed over a couple of different stages between 1861 and then got an extension in the 1990s. And like all museums in Scotland, it is free of charge to enter. So let's go and have a look inside. The interior of the museum is almost as spectacular as some of the exhibits. Now this is the old part, the original part of the museum, which has got this incredible Victorian Venetian wrought iron Renaissance interior. It was built between 1860 and 1866, and it is utterly gorgeous. So let's go and have a little look at some of the items of importance. As I mentioned earlier, the museum is free to visit and has an incredible collection, including geology, archaeology, natural history, science, technology, art, world cultures, and in the basements or the lower areas are the ancient Scottish history going back to the Roman and Iron Ages. And one of the weirder exhibits is this lady here, Dolly the sheep, who was the world's first cloned mammal. And she was cloned at the Roslin Institute, just on the outskirts of Edinburgh. This is every metal detectorist's dream. This is the biggest Roman coin hoard ever discovered in Scotland. It was found in 1933, and there are just over, or just shy of, 2,000 coins. It was found by workmen who were levelling a hill about 400 metres from the Antonine Wall, and the coins encompass a period going all the way back to 83 BC all the way through to 230 AD. So the hoard must have been buried sometime after 230 AD. Incredible. You can only imagine getting a signal and digging down to uncover something like that. These are just a handful of some of the coins which are on display. These are all from the medieval period, dating back to King David I, who founded a lot of the early abbeys and monasteries in Scotland, going all the way through the Wars of Independence, Alexander III, John Balliol, Robert the Bruce, and that was the period of William Wallace. Also some English and European coins because of trade, and then some very rare coins from the early Stuart dynasty, James I, II, III and IV, and then the arrival of gold coinage. So some of these coins are worth many thousands, if not tens of thousands of pounds. To date, I've certainly not been lucky enough to find one of these, but these are what keep you going back out metal detecting. Gold unicorns, gold riders, and some incredibly rare coins. Now, I know fairly recently on a metal detecting dig, one of these gold coins was found, so they are out there. This is a very unusual item, which I think has got a lot of similarities to Albert's discovery. It's called a carnix, and it's a trumpet around about 2,000 years old. This example was discovered a couple of hundred years ago. The larger example at the top is actually a replica. The original piece is the lower part, but it's based on a stylized boar. But you can definitely see some similarities in the design and also in Albert's bull. So it's from the same Celtic period, and this would have been used by Celtic warriors as they went into battle. This is another incredible treasure from the Roman period. It was found on a hill fort to the south of Edinburgh called Traprain Law in 1919, and it consists of around about 23 kilograms. That's about 51 pounds of Roman silver from the 4th or 5th centuries. The Traprain hill fort was controlled by a local tribe known as the Votadini, and most of the silver items are hack silver, which means that they've been cut up. So it wasn't about the beauty of the object, it was about the value, the silver itself. Early interpretations were that this was loot, that the tribes had overrun the north of England as the Roman Empire began to fall apart in what is now England. But more recent suggestions are that this may well have been diplomatic gifts given to the local tribes to keep the peace. Oh well, there we are. Something just a little bit different. I hope you enjoyed some of those treasures of the National Museum of Scotland in Edinburgh. And if you're in Edinburgh, it is an amazing place to visit. There is something for everyone, from adults to kids. And it's also a very interactive museum, so there's opportunities for young and old to get involved. But definitely some pretty incredible items from history and some rare, rare treasures. Now, as you can see, the weather has turned, and also I've been joined by Mitzi the cat. It's come to scratch me. She is very affectionate. So she loves to put her claws into you as well when she's excited. Right, off. So there we go. So something a little bit different, as I say. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, give me a thumbs up. It helps the old algorithm to find me some, or recommend it to other people to watch. If you're not already subscribed, then please hit the button, and hopefully I will see you on the next dig. And the next dig is a dig, and it's also a fantastic dig. So there are some incredible finds coming up over the next few videos. So take care, and we'll see you on the next dig. And it's raining again.